Thank you very much, Sarah. Well, who will get a boost after the last Republican debate of the year? Last night, several candidates showed no mercy going after one another as the CNN debate focused on national security. Andrew Spencer shows us some of those confrontations.
Donald, you're not going to be able to insult your way to the presidency.
Jeb Bush and Donald Trump got into several verbal sparring matches Tuesday night.
The simple fact is, if you think this is tough and you're not being treated
this
fairly,
isn't tough and easy.
Imagine what it's going to be like dealing with Putin, or dealing with President Xi, or dealing with the Islamic terrorism that exists. This is a tough business to run for president.
I know, you're a tough guy, Jeb.
And we need to have a leader that is...
Senators Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio focused a lot on each other, arguing over the future of undocumented workers.
Ted, you support legalizing people who are in this country illegally.
I led the fight against his legalization and amnesty bill.
And their respective voting records regarding national security.
I told voters in Texas that I would oppose the federal government having the authority to detain U.S. citizens permanently with no due process.
If you're an American citizen and you decide to join up with ISIS, we're not going to read you your Miranda rights. You're going to be treated as an enemy combatant, a member of an army attacking this country.
Senator Rand Paul and Governor Chris Christie got into it again, as they have in past debates. In supporting a no-fly zone over Syria, Christie said he'd have Russian planes shot down for violating it, which Paul said it could potentially start World War III.
We think about the judgment of someone who might want World War III. We might think about someone who might shut down a bridge because they don't like their friends. They don't want to, they want to get a Democrat.
I'm Andrew Spencer reporting.
All right, so whatever happened in Las Vegas may not stay there after that debate. Here to break it down, former state Republican Chairman Marty Connors and Democratic strategist Richard Dickerson. Great to have you gentlemen in.
Good to be here.
So national security, obviously a big issue now with what happened in Paris and San Bernardino. This was almost to be a show about showing who was toughest. So I know you're wearing the Democratic colors, but just based on the debate, I want to ask you, who came across as the toughest in your opinion?
I don't know whether it's toughest. I think Marco Rubio did a better job of coming across as being competent and being presidential and having an understanding of the issues as it related to security. So I thought Rubio did a really good job. I think Bush had a good night, best night that he's had. And I think Christie was able to speak with clarity because you got this back and forth. What does the Senate bill, what's included in the bill? People got lost.
Yeah.
And I think Christie did a very good job in his serving as a federal prosecutor in New Jersey right after 9/11 helped him.
Marty, you were shaking your head a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Christie did show a good job. He showed executive versus legislative leadership, which is a huge issue. Trump was surprisingly softer, I think, other than the Bush interaction.
Yeah, it seemed like it was mainly those two, and in the past, it was kind of counterproductive to go after Donald Trump, but most of those candidates pulled no punches this time going after Trump. Do you think it'll pay off for anybody?
No, I think Trump voters are there. What I want to watch real closely is Iowa, because I think that Ted Cruz is probably the best on the ground there. And so he's got a lot of strong organization. I will put in one little shot here, though. You said this was all about toughness in foreign policy. This was a 2-hour-long debate, and 1 hour and 20 minutes of it was devoted to the contained junior varsity team.
Okay, well, we knew he was going to get a shot at it, but let's try to stay on the debate here. Okay, but let's talk about Iowa. We know that it does not necessarily translate into winning the presidency. So just on the GOP side, if some of those lower level candidates do not fare well, are we going to see a mass exodus?
I think we're going to see an exodus after Iowa, and and the other side of it is Iowa is given more credit, more weight than it deserves. Who won Iowa in 2008? What difference did it make?
Right.
So Bachmann won Iowa, so what? I think Cruz is in the best position to win Iowa, but can it translate and can it resonate beyond Iowa?
The guy I didn't hear either one of you mention so far, Dr. Ben Carson. He seems to be losing ground. Talk about him.
I think he's, everyone likes him, but I think he's starting to fade away. Just for the record, Iowa has actually only picked 2 of the last 6 Republican nominees. New Hampshire, let's see, 4 of the last 6. South Carolina, 4 of the last 5. So the point is the narrowing process has begun. I think we're going to be down to Cruz, Rubio, and Trump.
You think Carson runs it as an independent?
No, I think Carson is. I think the writing's on the wall. Ben Carson is done. Okay, it's done.
All right, but now we talked about Iowa. Okay, but now let's just say if this is a weird year where we've seen political outsiders like Donald Trump gain a lot of momentum. What if he wins Iowa? And then he goes to New Hampshire and now South Carolina.
Well, if Trump wins Iowa, he's really, really on his way. The one problem I have with Trump from a political scientist perspective is polling. Only about 1 in 5 Republicans tend to vote in the Iowa caucus. And I think, and you can register on caucus day and you can change parties on caucus day. I think Trump is going to be bringing people to the polls that won't show up in traditional Republican polling.
I think that it's late, but it's still early. No one's voted. I don't think Trump's going to win Iowa. And I think after Iowa, it's going to become more problematic for him because at that point, the winnowing process will begin. And talking tough is not being tough. And I think last night we saw some signs of this. I think Bush had a better night.
A little bit, because you heard some of the crowd kind of boo Trump at some point.
I had the pleasure to serve in Afghanistan with Special Forces. They don't talk tough, but they are tough.
They are tough,
and they do the job.
So we'll see how the polls play out after that. Gentlemen, appreciate your expertise and your analysis always. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mickey's up next.